All right, hello, hello, hello. This is Ross Vertel, faithful reader on the forums, and I'm here today with Maggie Geppert, Zia Dax on the forums. Maggie, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Ross. How are you today?
Doing good. All right, so you recently participated in both Masters of the Universe tournaments, the online version, which is what we're here to talk about. So we're gonna get started on that. And we are going to start with your first edition deck just because that makes the most sense. And I will bring it up in a moment for all to see. But this deck is past Terrak Nor, I believe.
Yes, past Tarek Noor.
And this is normally the point where I'd ask if you have experience with this kind of deck, but this deck is titled Mark Alemo is an Ugly Man Mark II, which means that there is a Mark One. So
There's also a Mark II for open play because I played this in the open tournament um, for the which was the last tournament for the um, the celebration Charlie's return to Talos for 30th anniversary celebration tournament. So yeah, I've played this a couple times. This was supposed to be my day two Worlds deck if I had not sucked so bad and made it a little further. I sucked on day one, so that's fine.
such is life.
Uh,
Um,
well,
so I
I mean, I got 12th place, and person just ahead of me was Peter Ludwig, who decided to dunk on me. Like, what? I mean, like, what are you doing, man? Of course you're better than me.
Yep. So I
Anyway,
yeah, I did notice you've got quite a few better alternatives in the deck. So I'm presuming that's just to make sure that it shows up pretty quickly. Once you have Ducat out, it gains the shield icon. Um, oh, and you've got processor, so you can just put those right under your deck whenever you're ready.
yep, exactly. So those the better alternatives um are processor fodder. I've also got far too many Odo overseer Odos in the deck, which yeah, I know you want to probably want to ask me about how uh, things I would change later on. So the overseer Odo is supposed to be discarded for a better alternative. So they feed each other.
Nice. Wrong deck. Sorry. I did know that you also had the cafe in your deck.
Hmm.
So how well did that work being stacked in there?
The cafe was the Love Cafe was a lower priority draw engine. So normally what would happen is I would hope to get Overseer Odo in my opening hand to free play him with usually with Protect the Timeline since he is unique, and then I would play and then if I could the next people to get out, next higher prior, if I don't get him in my opening hand with any of my draws, he's my ops download, or I can, so if he comes in, then I do if he's in my opening hand, then my one personnel download is a Lita to the bar, so I can Dabo as fast as possible. And hope to if I so hope to get out a better alternative because if you discard a unique Cardassian personnel, you get three draws instead of just one. Then I get then so they're usually the I usually don't get the Love Cafe up and running until maybe turn three or four. The target is usually uh, Angel and Win. So I can download Win to the guest quarters and Angel comes along. Then they walk over to the holosuite and start making out. Ew.
Yep.
Hoping the gross out factor, distracts my opponents and allows me to play. better. This did not actually happen though.
Well, the 2026 might be your time. Um, Anything else about your deck before we go into round by round?
Let's see. I mean, it really is like get, really work through uh your draws and the big thing is also getting out sites. So with those ore processing draws, if you've got stuff, if you've got stuff for each of the free plays, so I missed this office, free play, the so there's a miss I missed this office free play. There is a um, protect the timeline free play. So if you've got one of each of those in your hand at the start of your turn, you can convert one of those process or draws into a site download with We Need You Here, which is on the commander's office. And basically, the idea there is to get out whatever sites you have for classification of personnel you've got in your hand. So then they will trigger a primary turbo lift draw. So I start the game with 7 sites out because Comfort Women downloads a site. And so that seventh site is primary turbo lift.
Yeah, I did notice this is a rare instance of sites actually being stocked in the deck.
Yep, they're
Well,
in the tent.
in the
There's a
tent, but you usually you see your 6 sites, maybe there's another one in the tent, but you've got 4 in the tent, right?
Yep, actually it should have been 5 because I've stupidly didn't include promenade shops and there's tons of civilians in this deck. So I was cursing myself pretty roundly for not not putting promenade shops in because then I would be playing people that couldn't get, I'd be playing people to the primary turbo lift so I couldn't get, if I had promenade shops out, they'd be able to trigger that primary turbo lift draw. So slightly annoying. So that's one of the things that I would change were I to play this deck again. Matt Zeno also pointed out that I was very dumb to put like 8 copies of Overseer Odo in because he can be ops downloaded first turn to get the processor out. So I don't really need 8 of him. I just need 1. But he works good as fodder. He's good fodder the for a better alternative. So I'm okay with that.
Cool. So yeah, moving on to the rounds. Your first round was against Matt McAlpin, who played TNG Ferengi Delta Quadrant. And speaking of curse words, if I may quote you from the forums, you use the word slobberknocker.
Um, I'll be honest, it's been so far in the
Ah,
past now. My brain doesn't really remember what happened, but I can go look and see if I try to remember if I can what
no, it's all right.
what it was that made it in fact a slobber knocker. And I don't really consider that a curse word,
Right.
but okay. Um, but no, I mean I think we were probably just banging on each other a bit. Let's see. Did we have a mod win or did one of us have a full win? Oh, I had a mod win. Yeah, so probably my guess is so he was in the Delta quadrant, I was in the Alpha quadrant. Pretty much I think what happened there is probably just we were killing each other a whole lot with each other's dilemmas. And
Okay.
probably because there's no way we could have been battling each other.
Right.
And
Um,
all of his personnel, uh if he was playing Delta Quadrant, all of his personnel would not, or I should say, if he was doing like Make New Home and those cards, all of his personnel have to report to the Delta Quadrant because they gain Delta while they're in the deck. So I don't think he'd be able to report anybody to my uh Nor.
yeah, there's tricks you can do with sites, but overriding quadrant rules I don't think is one of them. Please do not go come at me in the comments. Um,
I don't remember
yeah.
if he had any. No, all of his missions are Delta Quadrant, so it wasn't like he had a way. He was using Aftermath 2, but he didn't have a way to get anybody. I don't see a way for. Oh, that's why it was. He was playing a Q Flash deck. That would have been why it was why we were banging heads against each other because he was playing Q Flash, so there was plenty of penalty box and Mandarin Bailiffs. I think that I feel like in that game he hit me with fighting words, which I immediately oofed. So yeah, so good
Yes.
stuff. Good stuff. All right, next
Yeah.
round then.
So a second round was against Florian, who played motion picture Klingons. And there was a comment in the forum that involved a probe loss.
Oh yeah, I had like 3 or 4 turns in a row where I had bad probes. And each of those, so, so 3 turns where I'm 3 turn, let's say I was wagering 3 cards each time.
Okay.
So 3 turns, so that's 6, that's 18 points right there. So if I had, um, so if I had managed to get those, I would have won because I would have been out I would have been out ahead.
All right. And then it looks like the third round was against Mad Zeno, who was pretty much playing your deck, except his was a lot slimmer.
Yeah, he was he was playing a very similar deck. So silly things happened. Oh, I don't think he had, I'm not sure he had Quark's bar, but I'm pretty sure he came out over to my Quark's bar and battled Lita and killed Lita. Uh, and then proceeded to Dabo with my Dabo. I'm fairly certain that happened when I was playing that, and then I got quite a bit of advice of ways I could make this deck better. Um, yeah, it looks like um, yeah, he actually did a report. So uh, he came over to my station. So at one point in time, he had solved a mission and had 45 points. And there were 2 dead ends out on 2 different cleared out missions. So he needed to get 5 more points to get past those dead ends. So he came over and daboed it. That's when he came over to my station, killed Lita, and then daboed for 6 points, um, which got him 51. And then the next turn he went through and solved both of the missions that had the dead ends on them.
That would do it.
Yep.
Um, and then the fourth round was against Remo, who was playing Deep Space Nine Cardassians.
Yes. And I have completely forgotten
Okay.
what happened. I know it was a deck that I had actually seen him play before. He was going over to the, yeah, it was a variant on his deck that he played during the open tournament, and he went over to the Gamma Quadrant to solve missions over there. So he had some interesting he had a couple of interesting dilemma dilemma combos. Uh,
And
yeah,
if he's got a couple missions in the Gamma Quadrant, that means in theory some of yours are a little closer to each other.
yep.
Did that end up working in your favor?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, we've talked about some changes that Mad Zeno recommended. Anything else come to your mind when you play this deck again for changes?
No, I mean pretty much what I've said before. Probably, I often found myself without a unique personnel to play for protect the timeline. So probably balance out those ratios of unique and universal personnel a bit more. So I'm thinking probably fewer Odos, take out a bunch of the Odos and double up more on the unique people so that I can get them out. Um, and I often found myself really wishing I could ops download some of those civilians like Kira Maru or Basso Tromac to be able to get more people out with, or, to get Comfort Women out for that. By the way, Comfort Women is really great. It's a great card. Anytime you can do skill gain of choice is really fantastic. So I'd probably put in more different gulls so I can use comfort women with it with them.
Yeah, let me get that on the screen here. And I normally ask what your MVP is, but I'm guessing it's Comfort Women from the deck.
Actually, honestly, the MVP is a better alternative because man, oh man, it's like having a reusable, um, it's a reusable Kivas Fajo collector with, and when Prefect Ducat is out, you can't destroy it. So it's like, yes, that's a better alternative is definitely the MVP of this deck.
Cool. So I'll have the deck linked below in the show notes. Anything else before we move on to 2E?
No, I mean this is a fun deck. Actually, I would say I actually liked it better when I was playing this deck in the open tournament and people were using the old shapeshift inhibitor against me because it meant I had if I wanted to discard people or if I wanted to download people, excuse me, I had to discard personnel. So that meant that I could really fuel my Dabo draws with the old version of Shapeshift Inhibitor, which of course is gone now. But that was really sweet. I could max out that Dabo every single turn. Um, when people had the old Shapeshift Inhibitor out against me.
Cool. All right. So moving on to second edition. You played a deck called Nunir Mark
Ner,
IV.
ner, like ner, ner, ner. Zombies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so this is normally the part of time where I would ask if you played this kind of deck before, but it's Mark IV. I have Mark III. Do 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 do. Um, Starfleet, Trillium D. Um, in your deck strategy, say get Trillium D out early and then just start going to town. Um, I'm presuming you're going for the Jupiter mission first and then Delphic expanse.
Yes. Yeah, and that is the deck's major weakness. Um, so first off, this is as I also say in the deck notes, this is a net deck from a MVB from many years ago. So this is a bit of a time capsule deck. So the major weakness of this deck is that if you do not get your space mission done first, you cannot make 100 points unless you do Alpha 5 approach. So my first major addition to this, if I were to play this again, was I would put aside for Sore Eyes in the deck so I can get those last 5 points.
Right.
So that would be that would be the I hold this in my hand until I've got 95 points and lay it down on the table to score, yeah, score that last bit. So that's so that's the first major weakness of this deck.
The sorry, the only problem with that is you would need to wait a turn to do that.
Right, right. I mean, I could play it at, you can play it at any time because you gain the points, you lose the points. As
Right.
long as I don't spend the points on something like at what cost, it's, I could score, I would, if I had played it on the turn that I finished the mission, I would score those 5 points. I would have it, at the end of the game. So that's one big weakness of this deck. The second big weakness is that when this deck was originally designed, I don't know how many years ago I net decked it. But when this was originally designed, the meta was not lots of kill piles. So with the newer kill dilemmas that have come out recently, like telepathology and ghosts of reality, people have moved into playing kill piles a lot more, and this deck has no kill prevention. So most of my games during Trek Masters, I my discard pile was just corpses everywhere.
These things happen, but you've got your three archers there, which is good to have that protection, or at least that redundancy. You've also got a couple to Paul, so you do seem to be covered for a bit of death.
True.
Um, and I know that you're trying to get the Delphic Expanse missions, but I looked in your deck and you've got two already made Delphic Expanse missions. So
Mhm.
you're just trying to make the Jupiter mission Delphic early on and then go, go, go.
Yeah, so you play spatial reconfiguration on uh you play spatial reconfiguration on Jupiter. If you get another one, you could put it on Earth, and then everything's Delphic expanse, and then you get that then you have that range reduction everywhere, which is pretty great. Um but yeah, the spatial reconfiguration is to make sure that Jupiter, especially, is Delphic expanse, so you can use Archer there. You can use T'Pol there. No, wait, T'Pol doesn't need Delphic expanse, but
Archer very
Archer
much
does.
does. Yeah.
Archer does, yeah.
Yeah.
And also Wixaban. So you can, if you get Wixaban out early enough and name Delphic expanse, he'll get the Astro and leader that you need for Jupiter.
Yeah. So speaking of T'Pol, I noticed that you put the Vulcan Mind Meld in the deck. So you've got T'Pol and Soval plus any rhyming, sorry, any Vulcans that I'm forgetting right now. How did it go having that in the deck?
Never saw it.
Okay then.
Yeah, 4 rounds of a tournament, never saw the darn thing.
Okay then. Um, and I see that you've got Tucker there. He's mainly there to get the Trillium D, but also just some good cycling once the deck gets started.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
So once your opponent gets let me read Trib for a second. Once your opponent's done with their space mission, because normally people do one space, two planets. So Trip is there. Once your opponent gets done with the Trellium or with their space mission, those Trellium are pretty much useless. So you can either use them to cycle or you can use them for fodder for graph plating traps. So yeah, so that's so he's pretty they're pretty useful that way. You Yeah, it's got plenty of equipment in there for Faja's Menagerie. So you can fuel that fuels more draws too.
Yep. And then I notice you have both Davella and Sarah Fisher in your deck. As far as I can tell, you're not really going to be using their game text all that much. Are they pretty much there for skill holes?
Develops there for skill holes. I actually don't know why Sarah Fisher is in this deck. I think that might be an artifact of this being a copy of an MVB original.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why she's there because I don't think there's any way to, I'm not sure there's any way to remove cards from the game with the personnel who are in this deck. Oh, Future
Yeah,
Enterprise.
Future Enterprise.
So if she cat into my hand and I felt like I drew her all the time, she was always my last, yeah, my lowest priority card play
Right.
in terms of that.
Yeah.
And she
Um,
is nice because she costs 3 and all of the weenie stuff is always rampant everywhere. So this deck is a little bit weak to weenie, like all the 6 cost dilemmas and in development and stuff like that. But so she's a little bit of a bulwark against that, but not really.
yeah. Anything else before we go into individual rounds?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. So, as a bit of deja vu, your first round was also against Matt McAlpin. He played Klingon Cardassian Alliance, a little more of the Cardassian focused side of things. Do you remember how that round went?
Let's see. Trying to think. Let me look at his deck and see if there's anything I can think about. It was actually, it felt more like a Klingon, a little more Klingon heavy on that. I kind of remember thinking, what the heck was brute force doing in this deck? Because he couldn't get the bonus for all Klingons. Um, but it really was kind of his was really just a solver. It looks like he's got a little bit of, he's got some, he does have some kill prevention. Yeah, so he's got a Kevin in there, and he was playing the common cause, common purpose uh, stuff. But really, I'm just seeing like standard, kind of a standard solver sort of deck here. So I don't remember too much about it beyond
Yeah.
that.
Okay. And then your second round was against Alexander Schmitz, who played Ferengi Commodities.
Oh, I always love playing against Alex because he he I always learn something new playing against Alex because he
Ah,
plays interesting decks. And I got a little bit of, a small amount of revenge for my the devastating loss uh that I incurred against this deck at Worlds Day 1. So I got a little bit of revenge for that. No, I love playing. So he was playing commodities, and so pretty much he was boosting as many people as he could with all of his commodities. I got, um, I remember, let's see, I remember one cool move was that I did. Let me look back at his deck. He had, oh, what was that? Trying to remember what there was something interesting that happened and now it was right there in the front of my brain and now it's totally gone. I'm sure I'll remember it after the interview is over. But
right.
no, yeah, I mean pretty much he's playing a very good he's playing a very good commodities deck. I think commodities have finally like gotten to a place where you can like clearly he took 4th place, so you can play them competitively. But yeah, it was trying to think there was something neat that happened and now I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
I'll remember it later.
Well,
Sorry.
the first thing that I did when I saw that he was playing commodities was looking your deck for someone who had acquisition.
Oh, that
And
was it. Yeah, he forgot that I had Regana Tosh. So on one of my, I think I got ahead pretty fast. I got out ahead fairly quickly because he forgot that I played Regana Tosh very early, and he tried to drop stop me with nothing to lose, and I was like, nope, nope, got this guy. And he was totally like, oh. But it was also nice having him boosted up for by the commodities. At least at that time, he was not too boosted and could still get by. He could still get by. That was early in the game, so he didn't have commodities in my core yet, and I could still get by, nothing to lose with him.
yeah, the second thought I had was whatever skill gaming you did, I'm wondering if you just went straight for acquisition. I don't know if that was in the deck, but that
I didn't have any skill gain in the
okay.
deck. And nobody else has the integrity that's low enough to get by nothing to lose.
Yeah, okay. Um, and then your third round was against Michael Van Bremen. He was playing TNG Varia.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really much to say about that,
Okay.
except I managed to you know, keep him from. I killed him a lot, and he killed me a little bit. I don't remember how much I lost by in that round. But yeah, the it's a Varia deck. It
Right.
was honestly, it was really boring to play against. Sorry, Michael.
And then the final round was against Christopher Jansa, and that was described as, quote, a brutal mirror match.
Oh, we were both playing Vulcan zombies, and it was just carnage, total and complete carnage. Uh, we banged our heads against each other's decks. I think he got out ahead. I want to say he got Jupiter done first, ahead of me. And pretty much after that, it was just sort of like fighting to even try for the mod win. But he ended up snatching the mod win out from under me. And yeah, he had some kill prevention. Um, oh yeah, and yeah, I mean with Mike, I was thinking about Michael's deck. There was a lot of reprimanding me. So my Fajo's menageries didn't get used and other stuff. Grav plating traps, no thank you. Just reprimand, reprimand,
Yeah.
reprimand. At least they go out of play.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I mean it was pretty much it was nasty because he had Code of the Ushan out, so and a bunch of a few of my dilemmas are supposed to bounce. So Chris was using that using Code of the Ushan pretty reliably to keep my excuse me to keep my to put the bouncing dilemmas under his missions.
Okay. So yeah, we've talked about some changes you might make to the deck, but which card in the deck is your MVP?
Archer, damaged Archer,
Yeah.
and a lot that really does he really does force people into what kind to into thinking about what kind of dilemmas are you going to play, like does this dilemma have a skill, because if it doesn't, I'm just going to pick the all those, or does it have a random selection, or is it opponent's choice? You've got to be very careful when you're playing against Damage Archer, about what dilemmas you're choosing.
Yeah, it's always fun to be in the middle of a game and say, "Oh, wow, I need to change up my entire dilemma strategy on the fly."
Yep.
Let me see here.
Yep, yep. Well, I mean, and that's how we should be playing this game. You've got to have, you're thinking about either game. You've got to think of you have to be prepared in first and second edition both to not run your script. So, I would find myself a lot of times because I think like Chris was playing with Clown. He hit me with Clown Go Away on Jupiter. So I, spent the next turn going over to doing a planet mission just to, try to get some dilemmas underneath. That didn't work at all because he killed a bunch of people and left none under because he was also playing a bouncing pile. So, um,
So you tried something
yeah.
and it totally backfired on you.
Yes. Yes. So, but yeah, I mean, you've got to be prepared to not run your script if that's what it takes.
Yeah. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is something that I'm going to call Give Me a Hand. I've got your deck in Lackey up here. We're going to go through the first 2 or 3 turns. Just see how this deck can get started. Um, if we make a mistake or you see something that we shouldn't be doing, yell at the screen. Trust me, we will hear you from the future, viewers. Um, so we'll do 1 turn, we'll do a few turns blind. Then we'll go back in time and do this game a little more strategic, just see what we can do to be a little more optimized. So with very I've done some manipulation with this, but we have the Columbia, the Enterprise, Damaged Enterprise, Nadia Myers, Travis Mayweather, Unexpected Difficulties, Elizabeth Coulter, and Danica Erickson in the opening hand. Um, so if we're trying to do Jupiter, well, we definitely need an engineer, which I'm not seeing. We also need astrometrics, leadership, and cunning. Um, so we'll probably need to do some drawing. We've got some astrometrics. Nadia is a little cheaper to play. Who do you think would be a good personnel to get out first?
I wouldn't play a personnel first. I'd play the ship.
The ship?
I'd get damaged enterprise out
So, all right, damage.
because you need a ship to play your Trillium Ds.
Right.
So
Okay.
then probably if I'm being honest, drop the unexpected
Okay.
and draw a card. Let's see if we get a Trillium out. Nope.
Accumulated knowledge.
All right. Draw another.
Damage archer. He'll be a good turn
Okay.
to play. And
Yeah, so
then
I would
draw.
then yeah, so then so we're at 4, 5, 6. Um I guess is Cass Cutler, is she one coster? How much does she cost?
Yeah, she is. So
All right,
the
I drop her for the 7th.
okay.
Okay.
All right. That'd be the first turn, and then second turn, get archer out.
Mm-hmm. Then I would draw for 5. Again, looking for Trellium here.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lackey. And then who do you have a 2 coster out? Nadia. Yeah, go ahead and play Nadia.
Okay. And then so third turn, I do a couple draws for Trillium,
Mm-hmm.
emergency armband, and to Paul.
Uh, let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, play to Paul for 5. And Let's see. ETU's two coster, right?
Right.
Yeah. Um, I'd probably draw for 6/7.
Okay. Oh, and
There we
there's a
are.
Trillium D, which we could actually play for free.
Um, yes, you can play that for free, but you have to discard a non-personnel card from hand to draw
Probably,
two.
probably one of the.
Um, yeah, probably I wouldn't, I actually wouldn't get it out. I would just I would ditch the Columbia. Um, because I would, just to go down to 7 cards.
Okay. So, all right. So we're at the end of the third turn. Um, we have Archer. He's the engineer. We have astrometrics. Um, need some sort of leadership,
Well, the
but we
engineer needs to be at Earth.
right. Oh yeah. So we probably do some more drawing to get another engineer.
Yeah, so for the next turn, I would start the next turn by taking that Trellium. Um, so playing the Trellium for free, uh, discarding, yeah, accumulated knowledge probably because it's way early.
And then draw two cards.
Yep. So there we get Devella out. So play her for 2. Yeah, probably play Daniel Greaves for
Yeah.
5.
Then a couple of draws, or
Uh, yeah, a couple draws.
oh, and Tucker's right there. Perfect. Okay. All right. So let me go here and load this up. Let me bring up the deck and reveal everything. So if we're trying to be optimized going forward, um, there's really no way that we can get to Trillium D quickly,
Out on what was that, turn 3? It was pretty fast.
right?
Your opponent's not going to be playing, is not going to be out attempting missions usually until turn 4 or 5.
Right.
So, um, so getting those out that early is pretty good. Let's take a look. Can you open up the dilemma tab? I'm just curious to see what's on the top there.
So local trouble, ghosts of reality, dereliction of duty, necessary execution.
Yeah, so that's I would flush that. I would flush that so fast because that first draw out, if they send 9 out, I'm seeing a whole bunch of planet dilemmas. So I draw that out and then be like, oh dear, and burn that unexpected fast as can be. Because you got it. The whole point of this deck is getting those zombies out early for all those kills. So getting out um the space dilemma that uh kills somebody who with I can see the picture. I can't why is the name I'm sitting here. Uh, Simulated prey. So getting simulated prey out. So although I didn't have an interrupt in hand yet, it's pretty good. Getting simulated prey out early, getting and hazardous materials. So simulated prey um, kills somebody with a skill required by the mission, and then you can discard an interrupt to kill a second personnel from all people who are attempting. So with that and Vulcan zombies, you get 3 kills off the bat if you just got one Trellium D. Um, Hopefully you have an interrupt in hand when they start tempting. Otherwise,
Yep.
otherwise I find simulated prey is too expensive if you don't have that if you don't get the second kill.
Yeah. And then let me take a look. I'm going pretty far. I'm about a third of the way down the deck before I even get to an interrupt period.
Mm,
Again, thank you, Lackey.
yep. Eh, it's the way it's gonna happen.
Yep. Um, all right. Anything else before we start wrapping up?
I'm good. Thanks for thanks for having me out. I'm always happy to chat about playing the games.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, you do a weekly triples game on Tuesday evenings Eastern, and you're also going to be doing Worlds in 2026.
This is true. So,
Yeah.
I'm running currently, I always try to run a release event online whenever there's a new set that comes out. So we're doing the All Good Things remastered release event right now. Um, if you missed that and you want to get the achievement, Brian Sykes is running another one starting up in January. I have we Tribbles every Tuesday night. There is a Tribbles Masters that John Carter is running this upcoming Saturday. So go check that out.
Well, this meeting will probably post n- the following week. So if you were planning on going to that event, it actually happened in the past for those of you who are watching.
Ah,
So sorry,
and
meant to say that earlier, but
that's all right. But yes, I am hosting Worlds in the suburbs of Chicago, the last full weekend of July. So I believe that's actually like July 24th. Yeah, 24th through the 26th. So I'm branding this as come to the Midwest for Worlds. Stay for Gen Con, because Gen Con is the next weekend.
cool.
So, and in the meantime, come explore Chicago. It is a world-class city.
Yep. And also you could get into town early for Origins or for Gen Con.
Yes, so you could go to Indy a couple days early for Gen Con, if you're
Yep.
going to Gen Con. Um, there are apparently lovely things to do there, although I have not gone to Indy as a tourist destination except for Gen Con.
Cool. All right. So yeah, thank you very much. Also thanks for listening. Both decks are down.